And we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the live stream. We got a 3-gamer on this slate tonight, so not exactly the biggest slate in the world, but certainly some injury news that we're waiting on that's pretty relevant, most notably Kevin Durant. Still waiting on that news. We did just get some confirmation that he is indeed still listed as questionable, so not going to be any confirmation on that right now. With a lot of these other members of the Brooklyn Nets already being ruled out. So certainly something to be keeping an eye on. Welcome in, guys. Patrick, what's going on? Claw, how you doing? Colin, welcome into the live stream. Glad to have you guys here. And yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of a game-by-game breakdown as we always do on DraftKings. We're gonna talk about FanDuel, and I'll be answering questions in the chat as well. If you do enjoy this content, please take a second to leave a like on the stream. It goes a long way of helping out my channel. Really do greatly appreciate it, guys. And yeah, it's a 3-gamer. It's not going to take very long to get through this initial breakdown, but we're just going to go for it. And then any other questions that we have, we'll run back. Obviously, we're waiting on the Kevin Durant news for this first game. Kevin Durant taking on the Toronto Raptors in a game that has a pretty decent pace overall. I mean, once again, this is only a 3-gamer, a 215.5 over under a 5-point spread in favor of Brooklyn. I believe it opened as like an 8-point spread, so it's certainly going to expected to stay a lot closer than the initial line was released. Obviously, Durant news is going to be big. We already got confirmation Javon Carter, James Johnson, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeAndre Bembry were all placed on the sick list here, so they're not going to be in. So James Harden would obviously become a tremendous play. If there is indeed no Kevin Durant, he's going to take on all the usage. If Kevin Durant and James Harden are both in this game with how short-handed they are, I think this is a unique situation where they might be able to both get there. And I do think we have enough value to be able to fit them in. So we could talk about maybe, playing both of those guys as we talk about the value here. But on that side of things, if you're not playing a Harden or a Durant, certainly going to be some other valid value plays. Obviously, Patty Mills should step up and have a big role. He put up 32 DraftKings points last time when there was no James Harden. And now James Harden's going to be in. But once again, there could be possibly no Kevin Durant. And there's a lot of people out. So Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, I think you're going to get a big bump up in usage in minutes here. They could certainly be some great value plays that you could be playing in your lineups. And then, of course, with LaMarcus Aldridge being out, we could be taking a hard look to Blake Griffin at 3-4. He's been only playing like 10 minutes a game. He should get a big bump up. And lastly, Claxton all the way down to 3-1 on DraftKings. Nicholas Claxton. Very good fantasy point producer. If he does get minutes, he should be able to surpass his price tag very easily. And he currently grades out as my #1 play overall on the slate as far as upside at his price tag on DraftKings. So Nicholas Claxton, Blake Griffin, certainly going to be great value plays in this first game. And then running it back on the Toronto side, it's fairly obvious where we're going on the Toronto side. These guys have such a solidified rotation. These guys all play mid-30s to upper 30s. They all play pretty much 40 minutes a game. And those guys are Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, and Gary Trent Jr. Those 4 guys could definitely be locking in on them, playing them. My favorite option would be Gary Trent Jr. at his price tag. Not raw scoring, just he's only 5,900. He could easily go out there and put up 40 DraftKings points. If he does so at that price tag, you're going to be very happy. Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, both viable plays as well. Fred VanVleet. Obviously, the more of these guys you play in the same lineup, the more negatively correlated they are. So you're going to want to be a little bit careful of not getting too much exposure to the Raptors side of things. But at the same time, not to contradict myself, if there was ever a rotation where you could do it, this would be the one. Because these guys are literally playing like 40 minutes a game. So certainly going to like running it back on the Toronto side, feeling very confident with those guys. You don't have to get too cute. Chris Boucher, there's no Achiawa, there's no Ken Birch. I think he's been a very popular value option. He just continues to see his minutes too limited for me. And his price tag continues to go up. Now he's at the 4.8. If other people are going to play Chris Boucher, I think I let them chase him. I'm not really too intrigued here. They just haven't been playing him enough minutes. I'd much rather pivot to maybe Yuta Wannabe or a Svi Mikhailuk. Yuta Wannabe played 26 minutes last time out. Svi Mikhailuk at 3,200, 20 minutes. So I think that would kind of be my approach there. And yeah, pretty obvious. Bruce Brown's a guy I think I mentioned, but he's going to get a big bump up here with a bunch of guys being out on the Brooklyn side of things. Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, etc. So, yeah, the Claw says, if he plays, do you think the best pick, Curry, Harden, Durant? It's definitely not Curry. in my opinion, with the slower paced game and with all these guys being out on Brooklyn. As far as Kevin Durant and James Harden, man, I really need Kevin Durant to be ruled in. If I had to pick between these two guys, I'd probably lean towards going with Harden because they're pretty similarly projected, and James Harden's a little bit cheaper on DraftKings, so that's why I would go there. So, yeah, to answer that question, that's my thought process there. Golden State Warriors taking on the New York Knicks, going to be the next game on the slate. Now, this game I have a lot less interest in. Stephen Curry's priced all the way up. The big headline right now is that Stephen Curry is chasing the all-time three-point record held by Ray Allen. So there's a lot of buzz going on around Stephen Curry's name right now. I just don't like this game environment from a fantasy aspect. He's priced way up now on DraftKings. It's only a 212 over/under. It's going to be a slow-paced game. Could Stephen Curry get you there at 11.5? Sure, but would I much rather play a Kevin Durant or a James Harden with a team that's completely depleted on Brooklyn and is going to be very reliant on them? Yes, I would. So Stephen Curry, good tournament option, but for me, I'm just not nearly as interested in him as some of these Brooklyn guys. The James Harden pay up, the Kevin Durant pay up. I'd much rather go to them. And not to mention, I mean, Toronto traditionally has been a very good defensive team. They have not been very good this year. Look at my defensive half-court and putbacks tool as far as how they rank out for a defense. They are 23rd in the league overall in points per possession rank, 28th in half-court offensive rebounding percentage rank given up as well, and 29th in putbacks. So Toronto's allowing a lot of offense. They're also allowing a lot of putbacks. So I certainly do like that matchup for Brooklyn. And for that reason, I think Stephen Curry is not really a priority pay-up option for me. Julius Randle is an interesting option from an upside aspect, but the Golden State Warriors are the #1 team defensively in the league this year on my premium content, so I really don't like targeting the Golden State Warriors too much with guys from the opposing teams, so it's a little bit scary for me to really be wanting to target too much Julius Randle. However, with that being said, there is no RJ Barrett. There now is no Quentin Grimes, so I do think that there's no Obi Toppin. So I do think that Julius Randle's going to get a big bump up in usage here. He just has to take on the defense of Draymond Green. That's a little bit less than ideal. Draymond, a pretty good defender. Julius Randle definitely has the upside, but I do think I'd much rather target an Alec Burks and a Derrick Rose. Those two guys are the ones that are really sticking out to me on the New York Knicks side of things. So I like Alec Burks. I like Derrick Rose at 5K. And then some cheaper options that should get a big bump up in usage in minutes with there being no Grimes and no Barrett would be looking to guys like a Kevin Knox and also an Evan Fournier. So those two guys certainly going to be viable options as well. Just keep in mind, guys, this really isn't the best matchup. The Golden State Warriors have been very, very good defensively. So these guys are really cheap. Like Kevin Knox is only 3.6, so he should certainly have a much easier time surpassing his price tag than some of these other guys that are priced up. So if you want to go there, I wouldn't call you crazy. But I do think I'm really leaning towards going with the Brooklyn value as of now. But it can be a little close. I mean, Jordan Poole is definitely my favorite option on the Golden State Warriors side of things. It's not even close. He's only 5'8". Way too underpriced for his upside. We've seen him play in the mid-30s to upper 30s when the game is close, consistently putting up mid-30s in DraftKings points, and he has a lot more upside for more. So Jordan Poole certainly grading out as the most interesting play for me on the Golden State Warriors side of things in my projections on the DraftKings slate. So that would be my approach there. Colin says, Dame time. Yeah, I like Damian Lillard. We're going to get into the next game. Nurkic or Scotty Barnes for points and ownership. The claw says, I go with Scotty Barnes because he gets a lot more minutes. Yusuf Nurkic's minutes are a little bit limited right now. Although he's seeing his minutes climb. We're going to talk about that right now. He's starting to see some more minutes, actually. So I don't want to be... I don't know. Last time he got in foul trouble, if you look at his time before, he played like 28, 30 minutes. So he's starting to see they're more towards the 30-minute mark. The problem is on DraftKings, I think they have him pretty appropriately priced. I know on FanDuel last slate they had him really cheap. So he was racking up quite a bit of ownership over here. And he's still pretty cheap, yeah. So on FanDuel, if you're playing on FanDuel, I like Yusuf Nurkic. If you're playing on DraftKings, his minutes are just a little too capped for me. I'd much rather just go down to like a Nicholas Claxton that we talked about for a value play at the center position. There's some other better plays that I'd much rather, fill my center spot in with rather than Yusuf Nurkic. So that would be my approach there. But I certainly have a lot of interest in Damian Lillard. There's no CJ McCollum. I have a lot of interest in Chris Paul. If you didn't watch my video earlier, Chris Paul is my lock of the night. Love this spot for him. Portland has been terrible defensively all season long. There's no Devin Booker in this one. That should give a big bump up to a Chris Paul. And when you're looking at Portland overall, as far as how they grade out as a defense, they're in the bottom three in the league. They're 28th overall in points per possession rank, 29th in half-court points per play rank. Just really not a good defense. So I think Chris Paul with the bump up in usage, the bump up in minutes, and the good matchup makes a lot of sense for me. I love Damian Lillard as well. These two guys certainly going to be high priorities for me. And then DeAndre Ayton being questionable is obviously some big news. It's a non-COVID-related injury here for him. Illness. So he's dealing with some illness issues. Yusuf Nurkic, Dennis Smith Jr. being priced up now with Damian Lillard being back is just an automatic fade. The guy played 4 minutes last time out. He's a very easy fade. I don't even think about playing him. You could look to a Norman Powell and Anthony Simmons. Norman Powell playing a bunch of minutes last time out. Really let me down. I was up there in the standings with Norman Powell, and the second half he just did nothing, and he played 39 minutes. So I guess that's a little self-frustration coming out for me. But he's still in a great spot on the Portland side of things. There's no CJ McCollum. He should get a big bump up in usage, so I'm still going to like him. Anthony Simmons did play quite a few minutes. He got a bunch of usage, 33 minutes. He put up 34 DraftKings points, so I'll continue to have some interest in him. Larry Nance Jr. and Nazir Little are both interesting value plays as well. Larry Nance Jr. and Nazir Little getting bumped into the starting lineup now, both dealing with foul issues last game, so I wouldn't let that deter you from wanting to play them. Robert Covington being switched to a bench role. However, he did play a lot of minutes, and Robert Covington produced at a very high rate that last time, especially on FanDuel. The thing is, he didn't do it from scoring. He didn't do it from rebounding. He did it from getting blocks and steals. He had 4 blocks and 5 steals, which is ridiculous on a site like FanDuel where you get the 3 points for every block and steal. You would have been a very happy person to have played some Robert Covington. So, yeah, I would not let that dictate your overall opinion on Mr. Covington tonight. And honestly, he's just a fade for me. So I'd definitely be going with more of a Nazir Little, a Larry Nance Jr. approach on the Portland side of things. And, yeah, and then the Phoenix side of things, it's pretty obvious too. Chris Paul, obviously, going to be a great option. I do like JaVale McGee, of course, if there's no DeAndre Ayton. Jay Crowder grades out as a great play for me on both websites, getting a bunch of minutes. One guy that I'm really high on would be Cameron Johnson, priced at 4.4 on DraftKings, produces at a very high rate. Looking at how he's been producing on the season, let's see here. Mr. Cameron Johnson producing 0.81 DK points per minute, so that's really solid stuff. So I certainly have no issues with you going to him for some value plays. And, yeah, that'd be my approach there. Welcome into the live stream. What do you think of Nazir Little on FanDuel as a value play? Yeah, I think he's a great play on FanDuel. Nazir Little is producing at a very high rate. He continues to be too cheap over here on FanDuel. He's a starter. Like I said, he got in some foul trouble last time out. He's only 4.3 over here on FanDuel, so I certainly think that he is a valid value play for sure. When you're looking at what he's been producing on a permanent basis so far in the season, it's very good stuff. I was just looking into it earlier myself. Let's see. Nazir Little is 4.3. Switch over to the FanDuel tab on my sheet here. Nazir Little on a FanDuel point per minute. 0.86 FanDuel points per minute. That's really, really good stuff. It's not going to take him too long to get there at his current price tag, producing at that high of a rate. So, certainly approve of that as a value play. The class says, is playing CP, Crowder, McGee, Bridges, and Payne all in the same lineup? If so, who would you drop for single entry? Is that a bad idea? Yeah, I think that is a bad idea. I would drop, I'd probably drop Payne, just based on the fact that he's limited in his minutes. His production's really good, but his minutes just aren't quite there compared to these other guys. If you look at Cameron Payne's minutes last time out and the last few times out, he's played 22. He played 29 minutes the last time out, but I think some of that had to do with the fact that that game turned into a pretty significant blowout. I think if the game stays close, he's looking more so in the 20 range. These other guys are getting a lot more minutes than that. So that would be my approach there. Probably not really too interested in playing Cameron Payne. The rest of the guys think you could play together, though. Self says, use your code to get on that Parlay Play website. Got to get used to the layout, though. Yeah, man, Parlay Play is a sponsor of the channel. I don't have a Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge pick right now because we're waiting on some more injury news. But guys, check out Parlay Play. It's the sponsor of the channel. It's a really cool player prop site over here. You can use my promo code KJK003. You get an instant deposit match up to $50. Just to give you guys an update on where we are on the Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge. We currently have a bankroll of $40. We're 3-5 in our picks. So we haven't been perfect on our picks, but when we are right, we 3x our money at least. We had one pick where we 10x our money. I forget. I think we were at one point up to $65. Yeah, and we took a big risk. We bumped our bankroll up to $25 entry, and it was such a good pick, and I was so confident in that game turned into a blowout. So, but anyways, I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now, guys. Check out Parlay Play. It's a great format. I'm really excited to be partnering with these guys. Was really excited to have them as a sponsor of the channel. Click on that link I just put in the chat. You can also use the promo code KJK003. That one automatically use that promo code though. You get the $50 deposit match on your first deposit. You also get 2 risk-free $5 entries. So essentially, they give you, $10 to put into entries. If you don't win, it's not a big deal because it's free. It's not really your money. It's kind of a virtual currency kind of thing to get you going. And certainly do have a lot of fun playing over here in the Parlay Play format. I'm going to try to give you guys some picks. Tonight, though, we might not have a Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge pick. We might come up with one on the fly, but regardless, we're going to be talking through some plays I like, and you guys can go over here and make your picks. And they have football, hockey, boxing, a bunch of good stuff. So check them out. Parlay Play, link in the chat. Use promo code KJK003. You get the instant match deposit up to $50. And with that being said, let's go ahead and make sure that we're answering all of the questions in the chat, guys. We're going to be keeping our eyes on the injury news here. As that comes in, if you're enjoying the stream, please take a second to leave a like on the video. And also, if you subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. You won't miss any future content that I upload. Hit that bell so that you get notified whenever I go live or whenever I upload a new video. And I'll be answering all your questions in the chat. You can also check out my premium content for the whole month of December. I'm giving a sale where you can get the KJK DFS Discord package for only $1 all month of December. Trying to give back to you guys during the holiday season, give you a discount if you're not getting too serious about NBA DFS, but maybe playing for fun and you just want to be part of a community, or if you want to ask me questions, try to get a lot better. I would highly recommend that. And if you're getting very serious and you play every night, you got to get the KJK DFS NBA package. Would highly recommend it. You get my core plays, my projections, my data sheet, and you get the Discord package. You're going to make your money back very, very quickly. It's well worth the investment. So check that out, guys, if you are interested. And let's check on the questions here. What do we have? You think Bridges will get over 35 points? The legend says. He could, man. Do I think he would? He does? No. I don't know if you're playing on FanDuel or DraftKings. Realistically, Bridges has not been producing at the highest rate, man. He's been like right around 20-something a game. Yeah, 23, 21, 25. Could he get over 35 points? Does his ceiling allow for that? Certainly. But are you asking me, do I think he does on a per minute basis on like a flat projection? No, I do not. I don't know which website you're playing on. Let's assume that you're playing on DraftKings for this question. And Bridges as far as a projection right now. What do I have him projected for? Bridges. Mikal Bridges, I've got projected for 26. So, no, I don't think he scores over 35. Poole or Powell, the Claw asks. Yeah, Poole. I like Poole. That's tough, man. I like both those plays. I think they're both good mid-range plays, so I think you're on the right track. They're pretty close. Favorite plays in order if KD is ruled out on DK. Favorite plays in order? I'm going to assume that you're talking about the Brooklyn side. I mean, my favorite play by far would be James Harden on the Brooklyn side. And then following it up from a price tag aspect, I like Nicholas Claxton a lot at 3-1 on DraftKings. He's just too cheap. So he'd probably be my second favorite play. And then I like, Cameron Thomas, Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin. Those 4 guys would be the ones you're really looking to lock in on. Patty Mills becomes a decent play, but honestly, Patty Mills is probably the one that I'd be willing to fade the most. He's priced the most appropriately. James Harden's back in. That should affect his on-ball usage. Could he still get you there? Certainly. He's going to have a big upside boost with there being no Kevin Durant, if that is the case. But that'd probably be my approach. He'd probably be the first guy that I am to fade. If I'm trying to take a strong stance. He could play all these guys, but... the Claw says for points, I don't care about price on this one. Who's the best point scorer? Crowder, Johnson, Little, Nance Jr. Probably going to have to go with Larry Nance Jr. on that one. I have Cameron Johnson projected for barely more. Barely more than Larry Nance Jr., but it's very, very close. John says, is Lillard a priority tonight for cash games on FanDuel? Yeah, I really like Damian Lillard quite a bit. It's going to depend on this Kevin Durant news a little bit. James Harden becomes a much bigger, obviously, priority if there is no Kevin Durant. So, but yeah, Damian Lillard I like a lot. I like Van Vliet on FanDuel a lot for cash. Chris Paul, Jordan Poole, Derrick Rose. You could play Anthony Simmons. I'd stick to those guys. I don't really think it's worth getting cute with anyone else at the point guard position. I probably wouldn't. I'm really not that high on Stephen Curry tonight. If it comes back to bite me, so be it. He could have a big game any given night. Stephen Curry. He's a tremendous talent. I just don't like that game environment. There's some other spots with some guys being out and stuff that I want to take advantage of. So I'm not too high on Stephen Curry. I'd much rather play in this late game Damian Lillard or Chris Paul at a discount. I think they could score just as much as Steph tonight. So. The Claw says, will we get the Durant update while your stream is up? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to be hanging out here until 7 o'clock. If the questions keep rolling in, I'll be hanging out for another, 30-plus minutes. If the questions start to die down, sometimes I bounce out early because I have to update all my premium projections and my core plays and all that fun stuff and answer questions for my premium members in the Discord chat. So, but if it comes out before 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, locks at 7:30 tonight, then we'll get it on the stream. If it doesn't, then we're just going to have to... well, Claw, you're in the Discord chat, so you can ask in the Discord chat for the latest updates. The Claw says, is Cam Thomas a bad move? No, I don't think he's a bad move. Patrick says, on FanDuel, Siakam or Barnes? I like Siakam the most on FanDuel. Siakam's priced very friendly over here. He grades out as one of the best plays on the slate for me. The only problem is there might be a little bit of an opportunity cost because he does only have power forward eligibility. There's a lot of really good value plays at the power forward position tonight, so just keep that in mind. But Pascal Siakam grades out as the better play. He's cheaper, so for that reason, I like him more in respect to his upside for his price tag. John says, would you play both Lillard and Paul together? Yes, absolutely. Yes, I would. Both guys are going to be the highest usage guys on their teams. Both guys dealing with injuries on their teams. There's no CJ McCollum on the Portland side. There's no Devin Booker on the Phoenix side. That means that Chris Paul and Damian Lillard both get a big bump up in usage. It's an absolute no-brainer for me, and it's the fastest-paced game on the slate with a 219.5 over-under. So I certainly would play both Lillard and Paul. It's a no-brainer for me. They're both going to be top priorities for me on this slate. And to answer your question on if you could play them in the same lineup, absolutely. All right, guys, so let me know if you have any more questions in the chat. I'm going to be hanging out. Quick reminder, if you are just tuning in, you can get the KJK DFS Discord package at a discount this month. It's only $1. I'm going to put the link to all my premium content in the chat right now. Patreon.com/KJK_DFS. You can check out my Discord package. I offer an NFL package. I offer an NBA package. A bunch of good stuff going on over there. And you get access to the Discord chat where you can ask me questions all the way up to lock, after lock, before lock. And other people in the chat certainly will help you out too. There's quite a few people in there that have been in the chat for quite some time, so they kind of have been learning my techniques and all that fun stuff, and they know a lot of stuff. So if I'm not in the chat, they'll even answer for me sometimes and just say, this is what KJK usually recommends, which is always very helpful. So I appreciate everyone in that Discord community. You guys are the best. The Claw says, Paul and Harden or Paul and Lillard? That's going to depend upon the Kevin Durant news, my friend. It's very difficult to answer without knowing that. I like all three of those plays a lot. I like James Harden a lot more if there's no Kevin Durant. So, Sir Dwayne Moody says, what game would you stack to be different? I don't really recommend stacking an NBA DFS, man. The only way that's going to pay off for you is if the game goes to overtime on a 3-game slate. If one game goes to overtime and you stack it up and the other two blow out or something, then maybe you could be having a huge advantage. But generally speaking, if you're stacking a game, I don't really know what you mean by that, but the more exposure you get to one team, the more negatively correlated it is. Like if I play Let's just use Phoenix as an example. If I play Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and Jay Crowder all in the same lineup, like, only one of those guys is going to be scoring, rebounding, assisting per play. So the more exposure that I have to one team, the less upside that my guys can have in my lineup, if that makes sense. I mean, I think it makes perfect sense. I'm sure you're following along with what I'm saying. But it's like for every time that Chris Paul's scoring or getting an assist or getting a rebound, Cameron Johnson isn't. So I'm not saying you can't play Cameron Johnson and Chris Paul in the same lineup, but I'm saying the more guys you play from the same team, the more negatively correlated you're getting. I mean, playing 2 or 3 guys from the same team, no issues. It also depends on price tag. So a good example on this slate tonight, the Brooklyn Nets side of things, right? Maybe you play like 5 guys from Brooklyn, but that's a completely different topic because, we had all of this injury news come out after lock, so these guys aren't appropriately priced now. So that's a different ball game we're talking about. We're talking about LaMarcus Aldridge being out. We have James Johnson ruled out. DeAndre Bembry ruled out. Paul Millsap ruled out. Bembry, James Johnson, and LaMarcus Aldridge, we're talking, 50-plus minutes in the rotation that have to be filled in for. And every single guy that's going to be filling in for that price tag wasn't adjusted because this news didn't come out until midday. So Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, Blake Griffin, Nicholas Claxton. So in that case, these guys are cheap enough to where you could be getting a lot of exposure to one team and not second guessing it. But if you're paying up, I think you get my point. I went on a little bit of a rant there, but it's important to keep that in mind. When you're building your lineups, you want to build plus EV lineups, plus expected value. Put yourself in a position to where all your players have the biggest amount of upside possible. If you're playing, let's say 4 guys from one team in a game and 4 guys from the other, and both the teams are completely healthy in the rotation, there isn't extra minutes going to guys that are underpriced. It really doesn't make sense. I would not suggest it. The class says Barnes over Nurkic. Yeah, I would go Barnes over Nurkic. I already answered that one. Trent, Powell, or Burks? John asked. I don't know which website you're on, John. I'm going to assume that you're on DraftKings. And if you are, I'm going to go with Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. and Alec Burks are very, very close for me, though. Alec Burks grades out as a little bit of a better play. But very, very close. Quickly or Cameron Johnson? I go Cameron Johnson. I don't trust Quickly. He could have a big game on any given night, but I'm not too high on him. So that'd be my approach there. John says, so Trent Powell or Burks on FanDuel? On FanDuel, let's see here. Let me help you out. On FanDuel, Trent, Burks. I'd go with Burks. Burks is a lot cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings, so it's a no-brainer. Burks is only 5.6 on FanDuel compared to, what is he over here on DraftKings? He's in the 6K range. 6.3, so he becomes a lot easier to plug and play on FanDuel. Best small forward for DK, best player under 6,200 on DK. Best small forward for DraftKings? Let me look here. I mean, Kevin Durant, if he plays, but if Kevin Durant doesn't play, I like Gary Trent Jr. a lot on DraftKings. Gary Trent Jr. is only 5'9". I think he's way underpriced. We talked about this. Toronto Raptors rotation is very solidified. All these guys are playing mid-30s to upper 30s in minutes. Gary Trent Jr. is a very good three-point shooter. You get the three-point bonus on DraftKings. He's attempting a lot of them. 8, 7 threes, 2 of the last 3 games. Last time out, he had a bit of a down game, but that's because that game turned into a blowout. So I think Gary Trent Jr. is a very good play. Cameron says James Harden is out. I have a feeling that Cameron's trying to troll me. I don't see anything on that, but if something came out, Cameron, yeah, I think that Cameron's trying to be a funny guy. Very good, Cameron. Tap My Life. Did you go over FanDuel? Yeah, man, we went over FanDuel. Let me know if you have any questions, but the class says need to fill the rest of the 6,200. I mean, if you need to fill the rest of 6,200 and you have one spot, I don't know. Colin says, check on Underdog Fantasy. Wait, what are you guys talking about? Is James Harden ruled out? I mean, if you're being serious, I'm not trying to be a jerk and say that you're lying, but I know people like to make some news up. I'm not seeing anything on James Harden. So, if you guys are seeing something... Underdog Fantasy has faster tweets than Fantasy Labs. Okay, well... let's go ahead and look them up then. Sure. What do they? They do injury updates? I mean, maybe I'm on the wrong Underdog Fantasy. Do they have like a injury news or something? Let me know, guys. But I'm not seeing anything on James Harden being ruled out right now, so... not seeing it, man. Woj confirmed James Harden entered protocol. All right, guys. So, I mean, if I have this many people saying it, so James Harden got ruled out. So that means that this Brooklyn squad is completely depleted. And if that's the case, I mean, if Brooklyn doesn't have enough active bodies to play, they're gonna have to cancel the game. But Underdog NBA. Okay, Underdog NBA, I will add them to my list right now. Underdog NBA. Boom. Yeah, James Harden ruled out. Okay, so I'll go ahead and follow them. And we can talk about their injury reporting here. So that's currently in health and safety protocols. James Harden, Bruce Brown, Paul Millsap, James Johnson. Bruce Brown was added to the list as well. So I don't even know if they can play this game. Like, do they have enough bodies to play this game? I should know this off the top of my head, but how many active guys do you need to have play an NBA game? I believe it's 8. Yeah, James Harden's going to be out, so that means Bruce Brown's out, so that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. They have 8 guys right now. If indeed that there is no James Harden, so we'll keep our eyes on that. But the legend says, with the news of James Harden and Bruce Brown now on health and safety protocols, if Kevin Durant is ruled out, the Nets will have 7 active players. The minimum requirement is 8. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's what I thought it was, 8. So, yeah. I mean, DFS Little Monster says, rookie LOL. Don't know what you're talking about, but sure. Brown out as well, Talent Life says. Yeah, guys, so they have the 8 bodies right now if Kevin Durant's ruled in. So, yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to keep our eyes on that news. Might become a 2-game slate. Now people are saying that Kevin Durant's playing here. So that means Kevin Durant becomes the best play on the slate by far. He's available to play. Yeah, it just came through. So if this game plays, I mean, Kevin Durant's arguably the best play on the slate now. There's a bunch of value on the Brooklyn side. Just absolutely load up on the Brooklyn value here. That's pretty self-explanatory, I would say. But yeah, so Brooklyn... James Harden's out. Kevin Durant's in. Kevin Durant becomes one of the best plays on the slate. We got confirmation there's no Bruce Brown. Cam Thomas is going to be a tremendous play. Blake Griffin's going to be a tremendous play. Claxton's going to be a tremendous play. And then just figuring out who are the best fantasy point producers on this team. I'll go ahead and pull it up on my sheet for you guys. DraftKings Projections Hub for the KJK DFS premium content. Let's go with the Brooklyn. DraftKings point per minute as far as their leaders here. Let's see. Kevin Durant, obviously 1.37 DraftKings points per minute. Kessler Edwards, I don't think I mean, Kessler Edwards is actually a very good fantasy point producer. 1.11 DK point per minute. As far as the sample size on that, let's go ahead and pull up my sheet over here on DraftKings Brooklyn. Sample size on Kessler Edwards. I'm guessing it's not very high. Yeah, 2 games. He's played 11 minutes, so that's I wouldn't put too much stock into that. But Kessler Edwards, good fantasy point producer supposedly. And then anyone else you're looking to, Paul Millsap's out. James Johnson's out. Blake Griffin's going to be a tremendous play. 0.78. Nicholas Claxton becomes a great play. Cam Thomas. Patty Mills. I talked about not liking him that much with James Harden in. We just got confirmation that James Harden's out. So, yeah, guys. It's certainly worth loading up on this Brooklyn value. They only have 8 guys, the minimum to play, and this game plays. You're going to want to be getting lots of exposure to the Brooklyn Nets. So, would certainly recommend that. Head on over to parlay play here. Let's check out the Nets Raptors lines. Now that there's no James Harden, I think I can give you guys a pick. I mean, Kevin Durant parlay points, 41.5. He should absolutely smash that line now. And then I talked about liking Pascal Siakam at parlay points, 34.5 for Pascal Siakam. Looking at what I have him projected for over here on my projections. Let's see. Oh, Mr. Pascal Siakam. Yeah, Pascal Siakam, I've got projected for, 10 points over that. Kevin Durant, I've got projected for 10 points over that. So, I feel pretty confident being able to give you guys... I don't have my graphic brought up here. If you go to my yesterday's parlay picks, or the last ones that we did here, you can see the Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge. We sit at $10 with a starting point, $40 current bankroll. We've multiplied our bankroll by 4 guys on Parlay Play, and we're only 3 and 5 on our picks. So it's definitely a profitable site. If you sign up today, use promo code KJK003. They will match your first deposit up to $50. It's a player prop site, and I've been having a lot of fun taking advantage of these lines because I think the lines just aren't high enough oftentimes for a lot of these guys. I just talked about it. I like the Pascal Siakam play. I like the Kevin Durant play. Now that the whole team's depleted, he should be able to easily pass the over on that if he stays in healthy. So I feel pretty confident. I mean, let's look at some of these other guys. Scotty Barnes. Pascal Siakam's line was at 34.5 parlay points. Scotty Barnes is at 27.5. Okay, so that's pretty reasonable as well. I think I'd still stick with Pascal Siakam as being my favorite play. And then if you go to Fred VanVleet for parlay points, 30.5. Yeah, I like the line on Pascal Siakam a lot here. 34.5. I'll take the over for Pascal Siakam, over for Kevin Durant, and we'll lock that in as our pick for tonight's Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge. The only other thing is how much money we're going to be applying. Let's see if we do $10 of our $40 bankroll. We can multiply that to $30 if we hit right for the 3 times payout. So that's going to be my pick, guys. Go on, head over to Parlay Play. This should be an automatic. I love this pick because Pascal Siakam, I have projected for way over 34.5. I have Kevin Durant projected for way over 41.5. His projection's only going to go up more when I adjust my projections here in a second with no James Harden. So, love this pick. Head on over to Parlay Play. I'm going to put the link in the chat. And I already did, actually. Sorry. But yeah, use the promo code KJK003. They will instantly match your first deposit up to $50. You also get 2 risk-free $5 entries with the promo code. So, check them out. They're giving you free money. Definitely glad to be partnering with these guys. And like I said, I love this pick. This feels like free money. So I'm going to be locking it in myself as we speak here. And, yeah, I'll be answering any questions you guys have in the chat. I'll hang out for another 20 minutes. Then I'm going to head over to Patreon, my premium content, update my projections, my core plays, my sheets, all of that fun stuff. So let me know if you have any more questions, guys. I'll hang around for another 20 minutes, answer any questions that you have. And we will go from there. Trying to get this parlay play in myself. The class says, is Mills a good move? Yeah, I like Mills a lot now. Siakam on DK, question mark, Larry Banks says. Yeah, I like Siakam a lot on both websites. On FanDuel specifically, Siakam certainly stands out, but I like Siakam a lot on DraftKings as well. 8-3. It's not quite as easy to lock him in as it is over here on FanDuel, where he's very reasonably priced. I think they have him priced at like 7-8. Which just, I love that price tag for Pascal Siakam. So, certainly do like him. And, yeah. And I'm going to try to get this Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge in right now. Head on over there, guys. 2 picks. Kevin Durant over 41.5. Pascal Siakam over 34.5. I'm going to do $10 for the Bankroll Challenge. That's going to multiply your money by 3 if you do get both right. And yeah, let's win some money, guys. I'm going to be placing this right now. Siakam over parlay points. Make sure it's parlay points, not rebounds or points. And lock it in. Like it a lot. Click above the player's head to change what kind of points it is. Parlay points instead of the points. And then you can click on the player to change the player. Whether it be on the Nets or the Raptors. I'm going with Kevin Durant, Pascal Siakam over for both of those guys. Love the picks. Lock them in. And let's win some money on parlay play tonight. Fournier or Crowder on DraftKings, Larry says. I would go with Fournier. Based on an upside at his price tag. The claw says Mills or Bridges? Mills. The whole Nets team's out, guys. I mean, the Nets are going to provide a lot of value. I'm going to be updating my projections real quick. Actually, while I'm on the stream, and I can give you guys my updates, but it's kind of obvious. Obviously, all the Nets guys are going to get a big bump up in usage. And I'm going to be having quite a bit of them in my core plays, I would guess. If you are interested in my premium package, go ahead and check it out. You get my core plays every single night. You'll see on the screen right now. I'll pull it up. DraftKings core plays, FanDuel core plays. You're going to get the 3 plays at the guard position, forward position, and center position on both websites that I would be prioritizing in my lineups. I would highly recommend you check out the premium package if you're getting serious about NBA DFS. Going to make you a profitable player in a hurry. I work really hard on these tools. And, yeah. The Princess projection, yeah, man, the Prince, that'll be all fixed, man. It's kind of giving me a hard time right now because of all this injury-related stuff going on, sickness-related stuff. My projections and my CSV files that I'm exporting in there are being a little bit annoying, but just keep in mind it's the same name fielding up, so if it's a duplicate, it'll be fixed, and if it's not, it's just the same person's name, the same projection. Those duplicates should straighten themselves out, but with all the injury news and stuff, it's being quite annoying and difficult to update at times. So I think you could understand. I mean, every 2 seconds there's a different injury coming out. So it's like constant update, and then it can get a little crazy. All right, guys, looks like we have 10 likes. If you guys could take a second to leave a like on the live stream, would be greatly appreciated, guys. We're trying to aim for 20 likes on all these live streams. It's free content. I'm giving you guys my picks, helping you out for free. It takes 2 seconds to hit that like button, and would really mean a lot. The Nets do have the 8 players available needed to play Tuesday. So, I mean, David Duke, Kessler, Edwards, and Sharp are obviously going to be the sneakier plays of the bunch. But they're also realistically going to be the lowest scoring on the Brooklyn side of things. So, but I mean, Brooklyn just provides so much value now. You can play whoever you want in your lineups. Kevin Durant obviously going to be a priority for us now. He's a pay-up option. He's 11.6. He's the most expensive on the slate. Let's say you want to pay up for like a Damian Lillard, a Julius Randle, and even a Chris Paul. You're barely not able to do it with $3,000 per player, but we have so much value now. You have not Chris Paul. Blake Griffin's really cheap over here. Nicholas Claxton's really cheap. Blake Griffin's 3.4. That still leaves you with $4,000 per position. So if you're wanting to pay up for some studs, you should certainly be able to fit it in your lineups tonight, guys. It shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, let me know if you have any more questions in the chat. I'll be hanging around for another like 15 minutes if I'm continuing to get questions. If not, I'm going to bounce out, update my core plays, my projections, answer questions in the Discord chat. And last but not least, build my own lineups. So let me know if you have any more questions. If you don't, we'll probably head out here early. Check out Parlay Play, sponsor the channel, lock in those 2 picks, guys. Kevin Durant over 41.5, Pascal Siakam over 34.5. Feeling very, very confident about those 2 picks. You'll 3x your money, so check that out. And then, like I said, you can also check out my premium content and get it at a discount in December. So I'm going to put that in the chat for you guys as well. If you're getting really serious about NBA DFS and you really want to become a better player, I do think that's the best way to do it. I'm going to be updating these projections. This craziness going on. Craziness going on with the projections now. So, but yeah, guys. I'm probably going to get out of here. I'm going to do last call for questions. I'm going to give you another minute, 60 seconds. It looks like the questions are kind of dying down if there's nothing else. I think it's pretty straightforward, this slate now. There's so much Brooklyn value. Just jamming the Brooklyn guys, jamming whatever guys you want towards the higher price range. And feel pretty confident about it. I think the slate just became pretty easy in a way. Patty Mills, Bruce Brown's out. Cam Thomas is going to be a great play. Blake Griffin, Nicholas Claxton, all of these Brooklyn guys going to be great value plays. Kevin Durant's the best pay-up option on the slate now. And you shouldn't have any issues being able to get up to him. So, yeah, guys, that is all for me. I'm going to bounce out. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight. Check out Parlay Play. Use the promo code KJK003. They will match you up to your first $50. Check them out. You can also sign up for my premium content if you would like. And that was linked in the description, linked in the chat. I wish you guys all the best of luck. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. If you did enjoy, hit that like button. Greatly appreciate it. Wish you all the best of luck. One more question before I head out the door. Larry Banks says, Lillard or Curry on DK? I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. There's no CJ McCollum. He gets a big bump up in usage. It's a much faster paced game. Like Damian Lillard. Love him tonight. He's on the thumbnail for a reason. So that'd be my answer there, Larry. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Wish you all the best of luck tonight. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.